Peter W. Murphy, part two. Hello, buddy.
Two Chimps Typing, brought to you by Viagra. Hey, you brought the cat inside. Speaking of pussy,
That's right.
what's going on?
Collecting pussy. Hey, are you practicing guitar?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know, because that's been a topic of conversation a couple of times today here in this apartment in your absence. Is Peter practicing?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's happened. It's up. I know you've been busy and distracted this week with this production that you
Are you talking about the music?
Yeah, I'm talking about the music. I'm talking about the EP that's supposed to come out. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I had a huge like I was on the Dolmush today to get the vaccine, and I was just kind of like seven songs. I've just been practicing picking up my things, that song. Relentlessly.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Wait a minute, what just happened? Son of a gun.
God, I'm starting to lose my finger grip. It's getting messy. So you kind of have to put it down. Yeah, but it's been good. I'm happy with it. You know, man, I need pressure. And also I was thinking like, oh my God, why did I say the summer? Because of course I said that before this month lockdown that we've experienced,
right?
You know? And then I'm kind of like, oh.
I just want to alert the audience that for some weird reason, my phone shut off, which I was tethering my mobile to my laptop, and my phone shut off. So there was a bit of time there where we didn't hear anything you were saying, Peter. And now it's defaulted to my apartment's Wi-Fi. So I guess you said you were practicing relentlessly. And what did you say after that?
That, like, you know, when you practice a lot, then you start to actually become to get worse, and you got to put it down for a few hours.
Okay.
So I went through that like many times. And then I was like, why did I say we're going to release this EP in the summer? But then, of course, I made that plan before we experienced this 1 month lockdown.
Yeah.
You know? And now I've got this thing tomorrow, so I feel like I've missed another week. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, I got my Cambridge exam.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's just all these things, and I want to try get in a trip to the seaside as well. But it's fine. I still think we'll be able to record at least 1 or 2.
Yeah, it would be nice. You know, I was talking about what is the amount that I could put out. And I've been watching some videos about, you know, home recording guitar, because we're sort of getting down to brass tacks now. And I'm thinking about like, what is all what we would call pre-production, but it's actually production. What is all the pre-production I need to do now so that we're in a position to record the other bits, you know, in kind of short order? And that's kind of where.
Yeah, and also we should let people know that we decided to start a band, even though I haven't played drums in 10 years and I don't know how to play the guitar, and you haven't played guitar in 10 years, or the drums in 10 years, or the bass in 10 years.
Right.
So we thought it would be funny if we said, hey, wouldn't it be great if just 2 guys got together who used to have a history of music and just relearn their instruments?
So what you're talking about, what you're really talking about is a caveat that sort of explains away any deficiencies that could be perceived by observers. I get it. I get what you're doing.
Well, no, because I actually said that to a drummer who I used to play with, a guy called Johnny Gornell. He's now like living in South America or something. And
Jake Newberry entering the fray. Welcome back, buddy.
Hey, Jake.
Part 2 of Chimp Friends on the 28th of May, 2021, We had so much to talk about.
Yes, we do. But I said that to him, that caveat that you just mentioned, and he was like, "Dude, that's actually genius because it's kind of like it's a win-win.
Yeah,
It's like no one can say you're crap because you're like, hey, we're just two guys, and like, but also if it's any good, everyone's going to be like, oh my god. So
you
it's
know
kind
what
of like a
it should be
win-win.
done? It should be done like a typical reality show, Peter, in which we, with a face in front of a camera, we have a confessional. So we create a confessional room and we say, so here's the deal. You know, when I was in my adolescence and my 20s, I was both simultaneously trying to work out what it was my identity was, and it was largely through music. And so I played in some bands. And then later on, as my talent for football became like, or soccer became more obvious, at least in terms of me,
Yeah, mine kind of similar to you.
I tried to chase the dream of football, but there in my back pocket, almost like a monkey on my back, was the fact that I was playing in different hardcore kind of punk bands, post-punk, punk, whatever you want to call it. And so I was kind of like, you know, and there in the middle between the artistic side of playing music and the athletic side of trying to pursue the dream, you know, live the dream, was the necessity of work. And we could do it confessional style. And then
Yeah,
we could
and of course I was laughing
walk the
because
audience through the
yeah,
machinations and the motivation and inspiration for why we find ourselves
yeah,
at this point in
and
our
of course my mind works in a comedic way where I don't want to do this. I'm not saying we do this, but I thought it'd be funny if we had these confessionals, like you said, where we're like talking and playing together. Then it cuts to you in the room, like the confessional, going like, "This guy, Peter, he doesn't even know what an E string is. You know, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this guy?" Then it goes back to you saying, "Hey, man, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great
I've got
job."
my work cut out for me.
Well, I don't want to do that.
Fuck. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he's like, guys, you
So
have no idea.
impressed
I
here.
had to write he says he's a drummer. I had to write the drum parts. He says he's a guitarist. I had to write the guitar part.
Wait. Yeah. No, here's
He's
the
a
part.
bassist. He says he can sing. He can't fucking sing.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that I thought was really funny too, because I've said this a couple times. If you look on our YouTube videos, it says all songs written and performed by Peter Murphy and Martin Mawson, but that's not actually true.
But hey, in some of them it says George Kent.
Oh, I know. I noticed that too. I can't remember the one I noticed, and I remember George Kent, and I was like, "Whoa, that's talk about throwing him a bone." That was great. I love that. Jake,
What's going on with your band anyway, Anne?
Oh, it's great, man. We've got 7 songs.
That's good.
And
Yeah.
all that's left to do is for me to learn it on the guitar, and then we gotta do like, I mean, some of them, not all of them. Some of them I came up with the kernel of one or two of the songs,
Yeah, that's
and
the
then
thing.
some of them I came up with the lyric to the song, and then Martin put music to the lyric on the guitar, and then those kernels I came up with, Martin turned them into, actually, you know, we can put this here, and put it into a song.
The great thing about the pandemic, Jake, is that like what has happened is that we're using technology to kind of communicate to each other, and
Yeah.
and Peter will record something that is in his mind that he's sort of been playing around with, and then he sends it to me, and then I hear it, and maybe I discard 80% of whatever he's playing, but there's 20% in there. There's 20% in there, and I'm like, hey, that's a fucking hook, or that is the skeleton of something. And so that's kind of what's happened, right? Like he sends me something, and then either I like the whole thing or I only like a small bit. And then I take that small bit and I run with that and do something completely like based on the inspiration of that hook or that chord progression or whatever he's doing. And that's kind of how it's worked, right? Like it's a very
It's working well
interesting.
so far.
Yeah, because see, if you think about it, Jake, like there's a very good possibility that if we had 3 days a week or 4 days a week where we played together in the same room, there's a chance he never would have played those chords in front of me. Like there's a
Yeah, you
very
can do
good
it all
chance.
the time.
You know what I'm saying? And then it never would have.
Yeah.
We would be just like working on 3 songs, maybe 2 of them that I wrote 25 years ago, and then like this other song that we sort of co-wrote together or whatever.
Yeah.
But
It's all the time, man, I suppose, isn't it? Every moment is an opportunity to make music, and
the first
when it just comes to you.
the first song that Peter gave, the first like set of chord progressions and all of that thing that he gave, that is actually one of the strongest songs that we have. And it's based on the number of times that I've played it over and over in myself, that we've literally forced it into a song. And it sounds like it sounds like a good song. It sounds like a good song.
Yeah, it's nice.
I can't deny it.
Nice
And that is actually the most complete and coherent thing. And it was the first thing that Peter offered. So that was a really that was kind of refreshing, because then that, for me, having played in so many different like bands, you start to get kind of this like eye and ear for what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear. So that's important. You know, when you're working with somebody in a creative way, you need to trust that it doesn't matter what their skill level is. What matters is like whatever inspiration you draw from them. That's the only thing that matters. What's going on with George? Are we missing something with George that he's not here?
Maybe the baby.
Maybe the baby. The baby broke his glasses, by the way, and that's the reason.
Yeah, that's why he's got the
the sunglasses.
I just thought he was trying to be a cool dude, and
I know. I thought it was like he was
all.
channeling Corey Hart. That's what I said at the beginning of the last video. I felt like he was doing this whole thing, like he was sort of stealing your mojo, maybe, Peter.
Yeah.
Then when you entered in the last one, you had your sunglasses on too, and I was like, okay, George has enough character and charisma. He doesn't need to steal anybody's thunder. So what?
No, I didn't think that at all. What I thought was like, oh, George is drinking tonight. He's feeling it. He's feeling it. You know, summertime this year. That's what I thought. And it made me really sad. Like I was like, my God, I really want to like just go to a bloody bar.
I know. I've been talking about this a lot lately. Like what I notice is that I had no problem when the pandemic restrictions started a year ago, because that meant that I got to stay at home and work instead of going to work, and that was great.
Yeah.
But and when the first summer was canceled, I was like, okay, well, I'm happy to sacrifice one summer, you know. But now we're moving into the second summer. And we have more lockdowns this year than we ever had last year, and I've reached my limit, where I feel like we're going to maybe experience another summer where not only are there a lot of travel restrictions, but they might actually lock us down during the weekends and give us a fucking ridiculous curfew in the weeknights. And that's what I feel like we're going to be experiencing. I don't have any confidence at all that they're going to lift restrictions for the summer. I believe we're going to have like 9 o'clock curfews during the weekdays, weekend lockdowns, and no inner city travel. That's what I believe is going to happen.
Well, for the whole summer.
That's why I'm getting out of this country as soon as possible when summer happens, man. I'm not joking. It's like I'm straight on that Ryanair flight, and I'm good. Look, I got my vaccination card. I'm going to get my test, and I'm going back to Ireland, you know. And
you're coming back, though, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I'll come back. Like, but like, there's been talk on the streets of our fair city that there's going to be school during July.
Yes.
Okay? There's been talk.
That my boss told me that a month ago.
Yeah, and there's been talk about it, and the reason behind it is for the kids to, you know, catch up. Like the online lessons aren't enough, and we're working our butts off.
And the kids are as well. It's
And
for the
kids
kid.
are
They don't
tired.
realize that, do they?
They
They're
don't
having this
realize.
conversation in UK, by the way, for teachers.
Yeah.
They're talking about like working into summer and stuff, and it's like they just don't. Kids need a break. They've been through a
But it's
lot.
not just that, man. It's kind of like, if what we're doing isn't sufficient, then why are we doing it? Like, if this isn't
Nothing, I
full
suppose
on
they would say.
teaching, if this isn't full on teaching, pay cut right now. Okay? Now do something to show us that this isn't full on teaching. Do something.
Oh, don't
Because
tempt them, mind, Peter. They
we're
may. Do you know
like,
what I mean?
there's
They may think, oh yeah, I can imagine them
they would do it.
saying,
I know they would do it, but at least there would be a bigger reaction than what we're getting from the people here. They're so
oh, but
fucking
people are
docile. I
desperate,
thought this
bro.
was
They
Turkey.
would take it.
Oh man, it's
It's not
absolutely
the economy
crazy.
where you can complain, is it?
Sorry?
It's not the economy where people can complain.
Yeah, well anyway, but the if what we're not doing with online, like we've actually like revolutionized teaching, like you know, the fucking, like none of us knew how to do it, and now we're all experts in it, and now they're telling us that that's not good enough, and you can't have a summer, and everyone's losing their minds, you know?
Yeah, I think
It's
that they
absolutely
just like,
crazy.
I think, you know, the problem is that there are the people that run the businesses and the people that work for the businesses. And disgustingly, the people that run the businesses feel like we've all been on a holiday for the last year.
I
And
know.
the
That's
people that work
effed up.
for the businesses have like, we have been going through a nightmare for the last year. Like, because I couldn't go back to America last summer. And now there's a very good chance I can't go back to America this summer. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm living in a nightmare right now. And
Well,
nothing.
I spoke with some people about this, Martin, and
Oh, here's George,
some
by the way,
like,
guys.
okay, I spoke with some like higher ups like about this, and I kind of said like, look, I want to see my family.
George
I
can't.
want to see my baby cousin. Hey, George.
Hello. Sorry, the baby. I had to see to the baby.
We thought that.
That's what we knew. We knew.
That was our first guess. But you know, I want to see my family members. I want to see my new baby cousin. I'm a godfather now. I want to go to my cousin's wedding. I want to do this, and it's all happening because they've all been vaccinated, and they're all going. And then it's like, hey, Pete, it's on during the summer, so great. And now, like, they're kind of saying, like, oh, well, you might have a summer. And also, there's other interests I have in Ireland, and if I don't go home to Ireland and be involved in those interests, my my stake in those interests is kind of like, well, where the F have you been? You haven't put in the work. Not that that would happen, but like, you know what I mean? You still have to show up and put in the work and be supportive to people. And so then it's kind of, it comes back to work with the school, and it feels like it will get to a point where they're making you choose between not just your family and your job, but they're making you choose between this money and this money. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, guys, don't make me choose, because you could be the ones who very well lose out on this. And I'll be fine. I'll come back and I'll do something else in the city. But I think it'd be, and they'll lose a lot of native teachers.
Well, here's the other elephant in the room. Here's the other elephant in the room, right? So Peter and I sat in on a meeting in which part of the content of the meeting was talking about how there was a tremendous business opportunity in light of this pandemic, in which they would allow students to continue taking lessons from home over Zoom, while receiving a discounted tuition fee. And at the same time, they would be able to expand beyond the borders of Turkey and attract students in a distance learning fashion from places such as Saudi Arabia, so that Bahçeşehir would be able to accept students from beyond Turkish borders in the same way, and that the net benefit of adding those additional students would make up for the discount that they offer for extended learning in the first place. And then you have to ask yourself, what is the impact on the teachers?
Which goes into my last point. you're saying that our online teaching isn't the same as real teaching, and yet you say that this is the future. It's
That's
contradictory.
Right. That's right. It is contradictory, because at the end of the day, as much as our fearless leader hates to admit it, this is a fucking business. It's a business.
And if it's a business and if it's about money, I will choose the real money. You know what I mean? But I'd like to keep both.
It's ridiculous. Sorry, go on, George.
You're talking about the education ministry. There may or may not be a summer for you guys, right?
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, as with everything in Turkey, the tweet was so vague. I was speaking to Peter about it, and I conversed with my wife about it. My wife's a teacher also, and my wife's she's quit, so she's not working next year because she wants to be with the boy. Anyway, but she was like, yeah, well, you may private school teachers may or may not be working this summer. But like in the original tweet, nothing was ever sort of confirmed. It was just like, there will be compensation.
Yes.
And it's like, well, what are you talking about? You've just said this word and it scared all of us, but nothing else. When does it start? When does it finish? What does it entail?
Yeah.
And the school year is ending officially in 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah. It's a long year anyway. So what the hell are you talking about? And like if I was working, in one of these schools, I would phone it in. I would, because I've just had my summer taken away. So then the students lose out because, I'm not the most professional man in the world. I'll admit it. I literally would be on autopilot. I would not put.
I've been doing compensation.
But George, the schools wouldn't care.
I've been doing compensation for
That's
the
the
last
thing.
4 weeks. I've been doing compensation lessons for the last 4 weeks. Friday morning, I do 2 hours of compensation lessons, and I'm getting tired of it, because what this is evidentiary of is that not only does nobody know what they're really doing, but they're taking it out on the frontline staff that actually have to do it. And it's disgusting.
And the parents who spend the money for these schools, they have all the power. Because they could just say, I'm going to send my kid to a government school, right? So literally, if they wanted all of you teachers to, fart flowers out of your asses, then you'll have to do it. Because that is what the parents want.
George, I'll tell you something, all right? My talk tomorrow is about like online tools for teaching. So like for the last like 2 or 3 weeks, I've been doing research on all the online tools and everything.
Yeah.
All it is between all these schools, okay, is, and I'm going to drop some hard truth on everyone here, okay? And this is what a normal teacher will never tell you. It's just an arms race between different schools to say that, hey, we're using this, are they using it? I don't know, but we're using it. And there's no data on it. We are actually doing the research as we go. It's not proven. It hasn't been tested. It has been, most of these applications have been made, in somewhere else in America. They haven't been used in a lot of schools, maybe just 1 or 2 of them. And we're just going to find whichever one works that looks cool, say, oh, we're using it. Are they using it? No. So it's this online tool arms race. So then I started using them in my lessons, and I'm not the kind of teacher who always uses online tools. I'm more like lecturer style and having fun games, listening to them.
Yeah.
Then I asked all my students at the end of the 2-week run of me using these tools, I said, okay, I gave a poll. They could be incognito on the poll. Which do you prefer? Normal Peter teacher lesson or a Peter teacher lesson with online tools? And they all chose the normal Peter teacher lesson. And I'm serious, maybe except for like a very few. Then I devoted 1 lesson to asking these children about it. And I was nearly crying. And it wasn't because they said nice things about me. It was their reasons for choosing the traditional lesson. One example is, one of them said, I'm going to ad lib now. I'm going to say, it's basically shoved down their throat in every other lesson. And they feel coming to my lesson is like a break from it, where they can talk and someone listens to them. And then they say, oh, you're like having a father you can talk to, or a big brother, or something like that. And it's kind of like, okay, so they're not getting this at home. They're being pacified at home with these fucking online games. They're being pacified by their fucking teachers with these fucking online games. Now they're telling me that they only like my lessons because I actually don't really use them, and I just have fun with them as a person face to face and listen to them. And they learn that way. And I'm just kind of like, oh, great. Now I got to do this talk tomorrow about online games. And I got to make it positive. You know, it was really eye-opening.
Oh, you have an opportunity to do something really shocking and revolutionary, Peter. It's just whether or not you have the courage to do it. And it's not a challenge.
Well, I know, but I got to be smart about it. I'm going to like do this. I will be honest with my praise of the online tools. Okay. I will critique them in it, but I want to do a good job so as where I'll be asked to do it again. And the next time I do it, I just don't want to be the angry man with the bell saying the end is nigh. I actually want to have my research in my back pocket and then give my piece, you know?
Because let me tell you what happened. This week, I interviewed all of my classes and I asked them questions about, has any professional, has any adult ever confronted or approached you about what your opinion is about your online lessons and your face-to-face lessons? Nobody has ever been approached. And then I asked them, I said, now I'm approaching you. What is your opinion? Which do you prefer, online lessons or face-to-face? Overwhelmingly, everybody prefers being at home. I know, because I prefer being at home. So then I basically explained to my students that there's this tremendous lie that has been circulating throughout this country in the education ministry, with all of these talking eggheads that are professor doctors that are spreading this lie, and it is a lie, that they've interviewed so many thousands of students, and all of the students are depressed and even suicidal, that they're forced to be at home and that they can't be at school to resume the normal process of education. And it's a goddamn lie. Because these are businesses that are suffering from student withdrawals and loss of tuition payments. And they're trying to manufacture this fiction that the students are depressed and we need to get back to normal immediately because they're going to kill themselves if they're not able to go back to school, where they have to wake up early and put on their face and put on a uniform and go through rush hour traffic and sit in a classroom where they don't want to be, and they can't.
I think there's an argument for both of these. I think there's an argument for both of these. I think that there could be like a happy medium where
no, there's 1 in 20 students that would maybe prefer to be in the classroom, and you know why? Because something's wrong with them.
but also I don't fully
school, and the other
I don't fully trust
family.
Yeah, but I don't fully trust anything that says like every student wants to be at home, and I don't fully trust everyone that says every student wants to be at school. But what I do think is a 5-day school week is completely unnecessary now that we have online learning.
100%.
And
I can imagine the young ones want to go to school, but the high schoolers wouldn't want to fucking go there at all.
Yeah, primary.
Of course the high schoolers wouldn't.
I think primary, out of 20 kids in primary, like my question was posed to my style of lesson. It wasn't about online or face-to-face, but I think like maybe 5 in every classroom, which has about 23 students, prefer online in primary. But that's just because they're kids and they want to be playing, and still school's quite fun for them at that age. Mm-hmm. But we could easily have a school week that is 3 days a week.
Yeah, you know? I agree with that, Peter.
Easily. In fact, we could easily have a school day that finishes at 2:30 or 3.
That's what I'm trying to get to my students. I've been telling them this for years. I'm like, if you think about it, when I was a kid in school, we went to school 6 hours a day. That included lunch and recess. We were home by 2:30. We left school by 2:30. And just keep in mind that nation produced Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Larry Ellison and every goddamn buddy else, and Intel and Microsoft and Apple computers, and every goddamn one of those fucking people went to school for 6 fucking hours a day. So why the fuck are we going to school for 9 hours a day? It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I know, it's complete overkill. And like everybody lauds Finland, yeah, Finland's the greatest in the world for education. Like Michael Moore did that film, and like they're at school even less, you know, like 4 hours, 5 hours a day, like, you know, and like less is more, man. You know, everyone's burned out. All the kids are burned out. The kids are really stressed. Like going home.
We were in South Korea. In South Korea, we would start our school day at 6:30 in the morning, and we would not come home until 10:30 at night. To be a child in South Korea means 12 hours of public education plus tutors and other kind of like extracurricular, not extracurricular.
It's all just wasted. That was my experience of being a teacher. Is like, because I've been to these schools where, because I was like not a supply teacher, but I had other lessons to teach, but I would leave about 4 o'clock and my students had another 2 hours, 2 lessons to go. So they wouldn't be finished until 6 o'clock. And by that point, everything you tried to teach them was just going in one year and going out the other. It was just complete waste of time. They've gone in the morning time and maybe till, you know, after lunch and, you know, 1 till 3, you may be able to get a bit more in them, but past 3 o'clock, nah, they're gone. You're done. And it's just a complete waste. It's do you know what I mean?
I think after lunch, it's a waste. I think if you could get 5 classes in before lunch and then fuck off and let the kids go home, because after lunch, when you have that sugar crash, you cannot pay attention, particularly in spring and in autumn when it's still hot. Will you combine temperature with a sugar crash? Kids cannot fucking learn in that environment, and they shouldn't be forced to.
And this is why business should not mix with education, because the schools for doing all of these, from my own experience in Turkey, it's not the private schools, it's the, you know, it's the, it is the private schools for doing this, because the parents who don't really know about child psychology and how things work think, oh, Evet, you know, this is good. My child is going to school 8 hours a day and working and going to school on Saturdays. And
meanwhile, their child, when they get their degree,
expensive, therefore it must be good.
Yeah, but then when their child gets their degree, and after they do the army thing, after being mollycoddled the first 18 years, they have to go off to the army, put a gun in their hands, and then they gotta go to university, then they gotta do a master's and maybe a PhD, and even then, a Bulgarian farmer, as you said, George, can still go abroad easier than they can, you know? So what's it all for, really? I mean, of course, it's to get a good job, but that doesn't really happen until university. And even if you do have a university degree, you still have to be a balanced individual who works well with others to really make it.
But you know, I've seen some complete dipshits come out of these schools, right? And they're like 30,000 plus lira a year. I've seen superstars from these schools, absolutely, right? But I've seen some complete fucking dipshits as well. But also, I've seen complete dipshits from government schools, and I've seen superstars from government schools also.
Exactly.
So it's like, you know, like I'm going to send my kid to a government school, whether it's in Turkey or anywhere else, because I don't want to pay fucking money for this. I want to spend my money on cool shit, not fucking, you know, because I'm selfish. But
well, you could take that money and you could actually just save it for the first 18 years of your child's life instead of putting into private education. Say, hey, look, maybe he can do a summer course when he gets to 17. Do summer courses in England.
Yeah, I'll get him a maths tutor by a university student studying maths. Right? It's like.
Well, it's not even that, George. It's not even. It's like I think what matters more to a child than it, like whether you send them to private school or public school. What matters more is the fact that you spend 1 hour with your child doing their homework with them.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? Every day. Do you know what I mean? If you sit down with, I know that's hard. You know, people got jobs, you know, and there's a massive commitment. And I don't have children, so it's hard for me to say. But as a teacher, I could say that if you sat down with your child every day and gave them that extra hour of support, doing their homework with them, that goes a long way. And not just that as well, taking your children out to museums, to like, you know, taking them on day trips and the
Enrich their
weekend and stuff like that, because that's a different type of education as well, you know. And you know, there's one.
Feed the birds. Opens the bag.
My wife's boss, he's I don't know why, we went to the museum the other day with a couple of people, and he was like, oh, museum, and he's Turkish, but I was thinking, like, I can't get over, it's like, why is he mocking people going to a museum? I just don't get
In
this.
Turkey,
Like,
you're mocked if you're intelligent.
I know, that's what I mean. Like,
In America, you are now too. Yeah.
And you're dangerous.
Yeah,
And you're a
if
dangerous
you-
person if
I
you're
know, it's like,
intelligent.
Look,
they went
guys,
to a
if you
museum and he's kind of a bit like,
How was your
my cup of
London
tea.
trip, Jake? By the way, I mean, you look like
What's
you
that,
had
sorry?
fun, you and Ed. How was your trip?
Oh, to London. Oh, it was great. Yeah, really good. We went we had lovely hotel. And we had Old Tower
that's good.
Bridge. Nice. Went to Camden. Do you guys know Camden? Obviously you know Camden,
of
George.
course I know Camden, mate.
You know
I've
Camden
fucking
as
been
well.
around.
Yeah. Went to Camden. That was nice. We had a couple of pints there.
Old Kent
Um,
Road.
What's that?
Right?
Old Kent Road. Obviously, that's Camden as
Oh,
well.
is it going through it and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what else did we do? Oh, went to the British Museum. That was fun.
Yeah, right.
And
That's
yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was nice. Just 2-day trip. Nice. Just get away from the, do you know what I mean? Because like you guys, you know, just been in lockdown for so long, innit, you know?
Now, going back to Ece's boss, in Turkey, you got to make the money. If you're make lots of money, that means you're a respectable person. You know, like
So yeah.
if you're intelligent and have lots of money, that's great as well, right?
Mm.
Double good, I suppose. But if you're just intelligent and it's like, and interested in like museums or what have you, then you're like considered a bit weird and even a bit
But
dangerous.
George, for the
I don't
last,
get it.
and Jake,
I've just been shocked by it. It's all week is because it happened a week ago, and I just AJ told me this, and I just like, I'm like, huh? I like, why like this macho. It's like,
Jake,
I hate the word toxic
it
masculinity,
drives me
but
crazy
it's
as well.
so
It
to
drives
that
me
level
crazy
where it's
also.
like, oh, museums.
It's
in
exhausting.
Turkey, it is exhausting. If your hobby is anything other than Trendyol or Besiktas or
Right.
watching Netflix, if it's anything outside of that, you're
Mhm.
some intellectual dark web crazy person, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, and I look, for the last year, I've been on a dating applications, okay? And I've met some lovely people just talking, you know, but at the beginning, with Turkish women especially, sorry ladies, it's like just different versions of the same fucking thing, because the conversation goes the exact same way each time, no matter how much I try to change it. It's like, do you know Cem Yilmaz? I'm like, Cem Yilmaz. I mean, I'm so sick of hearing this word. Do you know Cem Yilmaz?
That's right.
I do know. He's not that funny. He has the
He's
same
not.
shtick for the last 20 years, okay?
That's right.
I'm so
I'm the
sick of it.
foreign guy.
you know?
You like to hear me sound like a foreigner, and it's funny.
Yeah.
That's all he's got.
Do you like
Another one,
MasterChef?
guys, is
No.
something I really sad about as well. It's not just like
Survivor.
the intellectual thing, but it's like you asked about London. I got this new. Do you remember I told you about geocaching? Yeah. I got this thing where you there's virtual tours around the world. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
So you go to a location with your GPS, and it tells you you look at your map and it says go to this point, and then it gives you the history of this area, and then it's amazing. And then it gives you a question, Ben, like, for example, we went to a pub in Camden with one of these tours, and it said, how long has the pub been open? You can only find that information by looking at the sign, and it says, 1625. And I looked around, and they're everywhere in the fucking world. People have made them themselves, you know? So these guided tours and everything. I went to France, they were all there, Spain, all there, America, all there, New Zealand, Australia, Japan. And you know what? A sad thing is, I went to Turkey, nothing. There is nothing. Pamukkale, nothing. Istanbul is free from Istanbul. Do you know what I mean? In London, there were over 200 in London. And it's sad, really. That shows like the kind of not about the intellectual thing as well, but like the kind of,
Oh, there's a cultural void.
yes, that's it. And it's because I love Turkey, don't get me wrong, but like it's the lack of wanting to go out and explore. Do you know what I mean? What the lack of adventurism? Do you know what I mean? The lack of like exploration in.
They should fucking ban Instagram in Turkey. They should ban it, right? This is what I think. Because all people are interested in is taking pictures of themselves.
Oh my God, man. They've ruined Instagram.
Like if they go to Ephesus, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, or Pamukkale, whatever, they only go there to take pictures and look good, right? But like, why? To attract people that you may or may not marry. It's like hyper neoliberal. I can't articulate.
And there's so much to see in Turkey as well.
Oh, but Jake, and also every conversation starts with, why are you here? Why are you in Turkey? I want to leave this country. And I'm like, wow, I love starting a conversation with a new person who I might like to date on such a negative,
Yeah, no,
like,
there is that. What they're trying to do is ascertain as quickly as possible, do I have a chance for a ticket to ride with this guy? Or is he?
And the answer is no. No, you do not.
Pinar says before the military coup of 1980, she wasn't alive then, obviously, but it was a lot different. Like it was, you had sort of different sort of culture outlets. You sort of the hippies and the, people were sort of reading books. You had like a library on every street, and people sort of were more in tune with themselves and their, culture around them, even though they were poorer, right? But now she says, because we went neoliberal, Bretton Woods. Yeah, this is what Pinar said in the 80s. This is it's the Starbucksization of Turkey is what's happened.
Yeah, but they don't know how to use it.
Yeah,
they don't know how to use it. Everywhere else in Europe, and in America, Starbucks is just a coffee place.
Yeah,
it's just another coffee place. You know what I mean? Like, and I never liked Starbucks in the beginning, but now it's got so far here where they think there's some quality. Like Starbucks coffee is shit. Does anybody know that?
It is terrible.
It's terrible.
My way.
Yeah, it's shit.
Yeah.
Like you'd be better off getting a Nescafe and making it yourself at home with the kettle.
Peter, I think you got on something, like, maybe I'm wrong about this, but when I was there, I had this like feeling that going to Starbucks was kind of a social, economic status type thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like kind of like a class.
It's like, look at me, I'm spending 17 lira on the coffee. And it's like,
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the cafe opposite has way better coffee and it's empty,
Yeah.
Right.
Artisan coffee, you know the one I mean.
No, I mean,
Marvin,
Caribou coffee is awesome, right? Less than a minute, guys. Yeah. So this is part.
Marvin,
yeah.
You gotta name this something that doesn't give away what we talk about. I was thinking
definitely going to include Cem Yilmaz sucks or Cem Yilmaz is not funny.
No,
I'm definitely including because that fucking guy.
Include that.
Funny.
Oh no, he's dog shit. I think The Death of Decency and Cem Yilmaz sucks. That's just my 2 cents. Use it if you want.
Yeah, I don't think that's fair to Cem Yilmaz. I don't know.
This isn't about Cem. This isn't about Cem. There's no people who love him.
Just like an Adam Sandler of America.
Williams was he's like Robin Williams, the least funniest comedian ever to be famous in any country or internationally. I fucking hate Robin Williams and his comedy with such unbridled passion, and people fucking worship at the altar of this fucking hack. What a fucking untalented.
I love Robin Williams.
I didn't mind. I thought he was. There's some moments where he made me laugh. Like good accents.
No, he was shit.
Oh, he's alright. He's alright.
It's my childhood. I can't have
the genie. You don't like the genie?
Yeah, exactly. The genie.
You monster, Martin.
That's just embarrassing. Remember, that's content written for him, and he's just reading the lines. A comedian doesn't read somebody else's lines. And when you see his comedy,
but an actor does.
You see that it's